rejecting the terminology of the left. So recently I was involved in a debate around Islam, and there's some things I'm not so fond of in Islam, and they said, "Oh, you're an Islamophobe." So the left likes to sort of throw names at people, insulting people when they lack reasons and arguments. Yeah, and I said, well, first of all, I reject that term because a phobia is a psychological term. And also, I'm not inappropriately scared of Islam. I have a certain caution based on my reading of history. So let's talk about that rather than throwing names around. Other ones I've seen, misogyny, used to mean kind of hating women. Now it's just like you don't agree with radical feminists. It's like, can we talk about what we don't agree about and whether there's facts that support that, or, logic that supports that or not, rather than this kind of name calling. And these spread. So, everyone's traumatized now. Everyone's triggered. These spread of words to mean more and more and more. And this is really a power move. This is the key thing. So the postmodern left is most interested in power as opposed to actually reason, logic, facts, or fairness. And they see the whole world as being around power and domination, which is what they try and do. And language is a way of gaining dominance. So there's words that even 5 years ago didn't exist in the UK and 2 years ago weren't commonly heard, first became common amongst kind of my leftist friends, and then people like yoga teachers, and now are mandatory. So it's now mandatory to use the word privilege, to believe in that. You can't say, no, actually, I don't really buy that as a concept because there's too many what they would call segments, and there's too many ways it works both ways, and blah, 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 and I hate the word. Yeah, but now it's not allowed. So the left actually entraps you into their psychology by enforcing the use of certain words. Now, I'm not saying here, go around calling people all kinds of awful terminology or whatever. However, I think a basic rejection of some of this jargon. Words create a way of thinking, and the left understands this. They actually overstate this. The left's a bit obsessed with words, but language does have power, and accepting the terminology of the left, I think, is problematic. It's starting to see the world in terms of victims and oppression and this kind of thing, rather than in terms of self-responsibility and some of the more conservative things that might be helpful from a personal growth point of view. So don't be afraid to reject the terminology of the left and just say, I'm not going to use this. I've become relatively skilled in using some of them just so I can have the conversations, but don't buy into it. And this idea that you have to have gone to, a middle-class person, gone to a university to even have the conversation. It's like, look, if you want to talk about sexism, like, who have I discriminated against? Don't tell me like what words I'm not allowed to use. So this is why I'll use words like pussy all the time, just because I just want to say fuck you. I'm not going to be policed by you in my words. I'm going to call people pussy if I want, and fuck you. You don't get to dictate what comes out of my mouth. I'm sorry, because that's a form of social control. And I'm not up for that. I'm not up for having people I disagree with, in fact, ideology I hate, control me. This is why it's so important that we take stands on some of these linguistic issues. Though, of course, I'd end this video by saying that the general conservative point of view that actions matter more than words is still vital. So be careful of this obsession with language. This leftist idea that it's not your ethics that matter, it's saying the right things. Like virtue is attained through having the latest update of the kind of postmodern American college campus language game. Nah, don't buy that. Don't buy that at all. Okay, so exercise from this one, have a look at your language, look at the language other people are trying to get you to use, make some stands on the language you do, things you want to say, things you don't want to say, realize that there is a power game at play here.